If you are anything like us, you definitely have those moments. Maybe it's 2 a.m. or you're walking the dog and this brilliant idea for a digital products just flashes into your mind.
Oh, yeah.
You grab a notebook, you open an app, and you get that rush of excitement. You can just see it. The course you want to launch, the guide that you know people need.
Or that template set that could genuinely make someone's workflow so much better. The ideas are absolutely there. The talent, the knowledge, all of it.
But then what happens?
Well, that's the thing. The transition from that brilliant idea to the actual launch product. That's where the system breaks down for most people. Right. They go online to do a little research, and suddenly all that excitement is it's replaced by paralysis. You're just drowning in conflicting advice, overwhelmed by all the tool comparisons, and you freeze.
And the idea just ends up gathering digital dust.
Exactly.
That feeling of being stuck, that sort of paralysis by possibility, is precisely what the materials we're diving into today are designed to solve. We've pulled from 2 courses, Build Your Digital Product with Clarity and Clarity Before Creation, the Digital Product Foundation. And our goal here is pretty simple. We are not just summarizing concepts.
No.
We want to extract a real anti-overwhelm structure. We want to give you a roadmap that prioritizes clarity, ensures focus, and builds real momentum.
This is really a strategic intervention. It's for people who are ready to move past that state of perpetual planning.
Right, the endless research phase.
Yeah, and the sources make it so clear that the person they're talking to isn't lacking creativity. They're lacking a process. If your ideas have been sitting there for way too long because you can't figure out the right starting point, this is for you.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our mission is to pull out the core philosophy and the first foundational steps so we all learn how to do the right things in the right order. But before we get to the solution, let's just sit with the problem for a second. Why does this part, the launch phase, which should be so exciting, create so much confusion?
What's really fascinating here is the psychology behind it. People often think their failure to launch is some kind of personal failing,
Like I'm not disciplined enough or I'm just a procrastinator.
Exactly. But the source material suggests the problem is more systemic. The struggle happens because they have way too many potential paths, plus this avalanche of contradictory information. It's the tyranny of the available.
The tyranny of the available. I like that. So it's like, should I use Teachable or Kajabi? Should I make a course or a template? Should I talk about productivity or marketing?
Yes. And when you have 5 good ideas and 50 possible tools,
you end up implementing 0 of them.
Precisely. That overload, that complete lack of a structural filter, is the direct cause of the hesitation, the chronic second-guessing, and the inability to just commit to a direction.
So it's like planning a huge trip without ever actually buying a map.
That's a great way to put it. You know generally where you want to go, but every tiny choice becomes this impossible high-stakes decision. This approach is about removing the stakes by giving you a sequence.
And when we look at the results that this process promises, they're not just about having a finished product. They're about overcoming that systemic overload. So what are the big shifts we can expect?
There are 3 really critical shifts. First, you get absolute clarity on choosing the right digital product for where you are right now. Not the biggest, most complex product.
Like the most strategic one.
The most strategic one for your current resources and knowledge. Second, you learn a method to create it in a simple, realistic way that doesn't demand you disappear for 6 months.
Okay, realistic steps. I like that.
And third, you learn to prepare it for sale and share it with confidence without that icky, salesy feeling. You share it because you know it genuinely solves a problem.
Right, that is a huge relief for anyone who dreads the sales part. But the antidote here isn't just a list of steps, it's the order of the steps,
Correct.
Right? You said it's not about multitasking.
It is absolutely about intentional organization. The core principle is sequence and momentum. The whole framework is built so that finishing one step gives you the exact input you need for the next step. It basically eliminates decision fatigue.
Which is huge.
And we see this right away in the very first segment, which is called From Stuck to Clear Digital Product Foundations.
And this is where the core philosophy really kicks in. The concept we have to internalize, and it feels so counterintuitive, is that clarity must come before creation.
This is the critical slowdown moment. Most of us, we want to jump straight to creating the Canva template or recording the first lesson.
And of course, that's the fun part.
It is, but the course tells you to actively slow down. Instead of rushing to build, you simplify your thinking and you focus on one clear direction. It is a vital, non-negotiable directive. Choosing one starting point is so much more effective than juggling 3 different ideas at once.
But when I'm feeling behind, the very last thing I want to do is slow down. That feels like self-sabotage. Why is that specific step so vital?
Because rushing straight into creation means you are building on a foundation of uncertainty. You're building the house before you've even picked the plot of land or drawn the blueprints.
And then every decision after that is a struggle.
Every single one. The price, the audience, the platform. Each one requires a complete mental recalculation, which just reinforces that feeling of being overwhelmed. By getting clarity first, you're not just choosing a product, you're conserving all that mental energy for execution later on.
You replace the chaos with a calm, single system.
That's it.
That mental space has to be liberating. Okay, so if we accept that we need to slow down and simplify, what's the mindset shift we need for the product itself? Because my first instinct is to build the perfect, all-encompassing thing that solves every problem.
And that is the magnum opus trap. It's why so many brilliant people never launch anything. The source materials make this crystal clear. Your first digital product does not need to be perfect or permanent. You are not building your legacy product right now.
You're building a launch pad.
A launch pad. I love that. A launch pad for what, though?
Good question.
A launch pad for momentum and confidence. The first product is a low-stakes exercise. It's designed to test the system and to build the crucial skill of follow-through.
Progress over perfection.
Always. Progress is so much more important than perfection in this phase. An 80% complete and launched product is infinitely better than a 100% perfect idea that's stuck in a file forever. It just teaches you that you can actually finish something.
That completely reframes the risk, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The goal changes from create a masterpiece to prove I can finish a simple project.
Yes.
And this is where the advice becomes really actionable. The materials introduce a specific practical tool to help with this.
That's the Module 1 worksheet. And this isn't just some basic questionnaire. It's positioned as the major component of this whole foundational stage. It's the grounding document that informs every single decision you make later on.
Like the structured conversation you need to have with yourself before you touch any software?
That's a perfect way to describe it.
So let's detail that, because this is where you can start to feel less overwhelmed. If that worksheet is the engine of clarity, what are the 4 specific things it helps you do?
Okay, so the worksheet moves you through this systematic reduction of chaos. The first function is critical. It helps you identify what has truly been holding you back.
Okay, so diagnosing the real point of failure.
Is it fear of selling? Is it the tech setup? Is it just chronic over-researching? You have to address that internal block first.
So we're not just jumping to the idea. We're confronting the personal friction that stopped us last time. Makes sense. What's next?
Second, the worksheet is designed to quiet the mental clutter and overwhelm. Just the act of filling it out forces all those swirling thoughts, the 9 product ideas, the 5 different price points out of your head and onto the page.
Where you can actually organize them.
And reduce them. It just imposes calm on that internal chaos.
That immediately simplifies the landscape, which I imagine leads right into the third function.
It does. The third goal is to narrow all those scattered ideas into one single focused direction. This is the elimination phase. It forces you to choose one specific problem for one specific person, solved by one specific product.
So instead of the ultimate guide to business management, it's more like...
It's more like a 30-day checklist for creative agencies to simplify client onboarding.
That specificity is so powerful and feels instantly actionable. And the fourth function must be the commitment part, right?
Well, absolutely. The fourth crucial function is helping you make a clear, intentional decision to move forward. The worksheet basically ends with a declaration, this is the product I will create. It forces commitment.
It transforms all that confusion into a concrete plan that you are now accountable to. So if we look at the total impact of doing this foundational work, the learner ends up with a clear direction, one focused starting point, way less overwhelm, and most importantly, the confidence to finally take action.
That is the systemic payoff, yes.
Yeah.
The clarity you get here is foundational for a reason. It dictates every single step that follows.
Right. Without it, you can't pick the right format or streamline creation.
Or even price it with any confidence. Everything else risks being built on shaky, anxious ground.
So if the foundation is solid, the rest of the building process becomes systematic and efficient. And when we look at the ultimate payoff, the long-term benefit for the learner, what did they walk away with beyond just that first product.
The ultimate payoff is a scalable infrastructure. You don't just have a finished guide or course. You have clarity, you have confidence, yes, but you also walk away with a proven, repeatable process.
So you're not reinventing the wheel every time. You're just using a proven machine.
That's the real value proposition here. You gain freedom from the fear of starting over.
Which is priceless.
It is. And the deeper implication, which is so often overlooked, is that you develop self-trust. When you follow a process and that process delivers results, you start trusting yourself to take action and to follow through.
That internal confidence in your ability to execute is probably the most valuable asset you can gain from all this.
I really think it is.
This has been an incredibly clear blueprint for moving from that chaotic pile of ideas to a focused launch plan. And I think the key thing to remember is that you don't need to have everything figured out today. The greatest momentum comes from slowing down first to simplify and choose one clear, intentional direction.
Which really raises an important question for you as you step away from this deep dive. If your first product is purely meant to build confidence and momentum, not perfection, what is the smallest, simplest thing you could create right now that would still genuinely solve a problem based on that focused starting point you found? Think about prioritizing completion over complexity and just allowing yourself to grow as you go.